Welcome back. Amtrak is basking in the afterglow of a major advancement, the launch of a new fleet of Acela trains, and now racing up and down one of the busiest lines in the country. But even though they are the fastest trains here in the U.S., the so-called next-gen trains still don't compare the train transit available in Europe and beyond. So why is the U.S. so far behind? Our Jay O'Brien went right to the U.S. Transportation Secretary to find out, and tonight's prime focus.
Serena Sharma is what they call a supercommuter. She lives in Philadelphia and takes the train an hour and a half both ways, often 3 days a week, to her job in New York City.
If you can get New York pay but live in Philly, it's kind of the best of both worlds, and ultimately you're just paying the cost of commuting.
Good for Serena's bottom line, but hard on her schedule.
I'm pretty much gone 12 plus hours.
And that's despite the fact that Serena is traveling on the second fastest train Amtrak, the national commuter rail company in the U.S., has to offer. Operating on its most popular line, the Northeast Corridor from Washington, D.C. to Boston. Those Northeast regional trains top out at 125 miles an hour. Amtrak's fastest train, the Acela, isn't much quicker with a top speed of 150 miles an hour.
I think I'm just probably going to stick to my typical train.
One of the nearly 39 million people served by Amtrak last year, Serena says her experience has been largely positive. But like so many Americans, she's also craving a faster option.
In terms of experience on Amtrak, probably just speed would really help.
It's no secret the U.S. is behind the rest of the world in train travel. Eurostar brings passengers back and forth between London and Paris in just under 2 hours. Japan's Shinkansen, often called bullet trains, now crisscross the country. And China has multiple trains that routinely top 200 miles an hour.
I mean, it certainly looks new. Wow.
We wanted to find out why the U.S. is so behind, a question that brought us here. The launch of what Amtrak says will kick off a new era of American train travel, the next-gen Acela trains. Brand new, still with that new train smell. Built to be the fastest in Amtrak's arsenal, topping out at 160 miles an hour, just 10 miles an hour faster than its predecessor. And there's another catch. Yes, these are the fastest trains in the country, but they can only go their top speed on a small percentage of the route due to twists and turns, aging infrastructure, and 7 commuter rail lines that run along the same corridor.
It is brand new.
Roger Harris is Amtrak's CEO.
Is that frustrating to have kind of only a few pockets where it can go up to its top speed?
Yeah, it absolutely is. What we focus on is making sure the train goes as fast as possible where it's safe to do so and where the infrastructure allows it.
Is there a way to make it and other trains like it go faster to try to change some of that infrastructure?
Well, it takes investment. It takes investment in the track infrastructure, in the electrification, the wires above the train, and also the signal systems that control when the trains can leave and how fast they can go, etc.
Amtrak says it's already starting on some improvements, many long overdue.
The Northeast Corridor has about 1,000 bridges. It has lots of tunnels. It has some bridges that move for ships to navigate. So much of that has to get upgraded.
And that could be expensive. The vast majority of Amtrak's operating costs come from its revenue rather than federal funding, but taxpayers often help pay for the infrastructure that helps Amtrak's trains run, like a recent $22 billion investment over 5 years in President Biden's infrastructure law. But can the U.S. ever catch up to much of the rest of the world in high-speed rail? We pressed Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy.
Why doesn't the U.S. have high-speed rail the way other countries do?
We have a lot of permitting issues. It's hard to get the permits to make that happen.
So is it even possible?
Listen, anything is possible. I'm sick of spending big money without the deliverable. We're willing to make the investments to make sure we get high-speed rail But we got to deliver it for the American people, and that project hasn't come out yet.
Since the start of President Trump's second term, Duffy's Department of Transportation cut funding to at least 2 high-speed rail projects, one in California that's years behind and billions over budget, and another in Texas.
It hasn't been a priority. We've put more money into aviation and into highways because that's part of our culture. Our culture is spread out, not live in compact metropolitan areas, instead relying upon our car.
One rare American high-speed success story is in Florida. Brightline connects Miami and Orlando with a train reaching speeds up to 125 miles an hour. They're planning an even faster line to connect Southern California to Las Vegas by 2028.
It's a private company, but they also teamed up with the company that owns the freight line. So they didn't have to build their own tracks between Miami and Orlando, and that saved them a lot of money.
But back in the Northeast, Amtrak isn't so lucky.
I would love if we could have a high-speed rail from D.C. to Philly, Philly on to New York, and then New York on to Boston. That would be great. But again, there's a lot of problems that come into play with states and communities. They don't want to be cut off the track. You're dealing with private property owners. Some states may not want to participate with us, so the issues become very complex.
Amtrak will tell you it's not just the speed of the trains, it's also about comfort too.
They're beautiful, right? I mean, they're gorgeous trains.
What they call the next generation of rail travel here in the U.S. looks a lot like the first generation, but the seats are newer, they're ergonomic, there's higher speed Wi-Fi. The train is, of course, brand new, and it has a better tilt system than the previous trains, which Amtrak says is going to lead to a smoother ride because it compensates for the curves in the track better than the previous trains did.
In the first upgrade these trains have seen in 25 years, Amtrak is also increasing the number of seats, and that added capacity, they say, will help bring down prices of train tickets that routinely cost more than flying. Welcome news for those like Serena.
If there was a faster train or a fast rail line, I think it would really benefit and cut down the amount of time I spend going in.
But speed remains the biggest challenge. And at least for now, these new Acela trains are the best this country has. Not the future, but our future. And some hope a symbol that American railroad investment is slowly coming back.
America, at one point in time, was in love with the railroads, and the railroads helped build this country. And technology kind of moved on to flying and private automobiles. But what's happened is, as the country's grown and we've had to build more infrastructure for those forms of transportation, rail has kind of resurged in people's realization that it's actually an efficient answer for certain situations, right?
And now you got to catch up.
We got to catch up.